keine neue kommt. Lass es einfach.
Aber jetzt machen wir noch nichts. Du hast jetzt Reset drin, wo die Bühne noch nicht drin ist.
Reset drin?
Ja, draußen ist das Verfahren, dass wir das letzte Bühnenbucket noch so einzuweisen.
Der Knopf ist hinter der Bühne da, wo das sehe ich. Ja. Nee, ich hatte die Lampenwechsel dann hier auch perfekt. In der anderen Halle gesehen haben die so als Pausenview, dass die irgendwie so ganz langsam durch die ganze Halle fahren. Das war eigentlich ganz cool drauf. Sehr cool das so. So in dieser Zeit jetzt, dass die so langsam durch die Halle fahren. Stellt ihr euch immer vor den Barren? Dann am besten ins Licht stellen. Also wahrscheinlich brauchst du den nicht.
Das machen Sie nur in der Pause, oder?
Wir machen so eine Live-Kamera gleich auf die LED.
Ja, aber das machen Sie nur in der Pause und nicht während die irgendeiner Tour machen.
Nee. Also entweder nimmst du jetzt den und drehst ihn nochmal einen Tick rüber. Sprung. Warum? Das ist der einzige. Der geht.
The very warmest of welcomes to you indeed to the 2025 FISU World University Games Summer, the Rhein-Ruhr 2025 Games, and the wonderful sport of artistic gymnastics. This is Messe Essen Hall 3, and we are about to bring you a very long, intricate men's team final that will take place over 2 days. There are 6 subdivisions in total in men's artistic gymnastics. Subdivisions 2 and 3 are coming your way in the afternoon, into the evening, and well into the Rhein-Ruhr night. Subdivision 1 was solely individual qualification. It has no bearing on the team final. The remaining subdivisions 2 through to 6 today and tomorrow will all factor into the overall team standings as well as individual qualification. Men's qualification and the team final, subdivision number 2 about to begin. We've got 4 teams ready for action, and I will talk you through the mechanics of the team competition, how it works. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, a squad of 5 representing them. 5 is the maximum you can have in the squad. Only 4 gymnasts will compete on the apparatus as a maximum. So for the Slovenian delegation, for example, they have a smaller squad by 1 than the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. But they still have a little margin for error because only 3 scores count per rotation. Canada, one of the great team gymnastics nations of the world, and some very stylish competitors. We're looking forward to seeing them in action, and to the Portuguese as well. It wasn't so long ago that Portugal sent a full team of men to the Mediterranean Games for the first time. They've really grown over the last 3-4 years or so. This is rotation 1 of subdivision number 2. It's artistic gymnastics at Rhein-Ruhr 2025. You are watching the men's team final. Good luck to all of the judges as they discharge their duties and calculate the difficulty, which begins at 0 and works upwards. It is an open code, and then the execution score that starts from 10 and works downwards due to deductions from perfect form. I'm sure many of you know it all too well, watching gymnastics over the years, but if you are newer to watching this wonderful sport, I shall do my level best to bring you some clarity on exactly how things are scored as we go through. So Great Britain will start on the pommel horse. Not the easiest of starting places for any team. Good luck to them and to Sam Mustalfi, who will begin their competition. He is a graduate of the University of Nottingham. The Canadian team, they will start on floor, and a nice place to begin for them, especially with Felix Dolci, who became the first Canadian man to win the Pan American Games all-around title in Santiago. And he is very decorated on the floor, silver medalist at the Commonwealth Games. Now the Portuguese are in tandem with the Canadians, Slovenia in tandem with Great Britain. What that means is that we'll see the Canadians on floor first, then the Portuguese on floor, and we'll see the British on pommel horse first, and then the Slovenians on pommel horse afterwards. Great pleasure to have your company wherever it is in the world that you are watching from, whoever you're supporting and however long you've been enjoying the great sport of artistic gymnastics. If you've been enjoying it for some time, you will know that there is a gentleman in the British team who has been a dominant force on floor. And that is Luke Whitehouse, the reigning 3-time consecutive European champion on the apparatus. Beat his own teammate Harry Hepworth by a matter of hundreds this year to do something that has only been done once before in the entire history of the European Championships. He will finish on floor. He's got to wait the whole competition to conclude qualification for his favoured apparatus final. That's not the easiest of prospects. So much to contemplate then, and so much to enjoy. This is all about elite level sport and elite level academia, but the result is far from academic. It's the start of the men's team final. It will run over 2 days. Good luck to all of them as they represent their countries and their higher education institutions. Luke Whitehouse from Leeds Beckett University gets things underway for the British team on pommel horse. Decent clearance early on. He's getting a little close now to brushing those handles. And then, yes, he's lost the leg form. We could see it coming with how close he was getting. And unfortunately, those Wenderschwings causing leg separation. Off he comes. Now, the British will be putting up 4 gymnasts on the pommel horse. And consequently, they have got the luxury of discarding a score. But when the opening gymnast has a full mark deduction, and he did well there to stop that being a second full mark deduction, it does pressurise the team somewhat. Did well to hold on, but he will lose several tenths for the quite pronounced leg separation. Had to show a lot of core strength going up into that pirouetting dismount. Didn't necessarily really click the heels together in the handstand position. Good effort though. This is Ioannis Chronopoulos from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, established in 1869. Does really well with his opening tumbling pass. Lost a bit of the tidiness of his tumbling form there, but held on. Canadian gentleman studying across the border in the United States of America, in a university very associated with collegiate gymnastics. Now the scale requirement, that's a well-held wide position. And he just about holds on to that double pike. Lands it pretty neatly with landing adjustment. 11.466 for Luke Whitehouse on pommel horse. He's not doing all-around qualification here.
Come on, come on, Cam. Fast hands.
The gymnast from Leeds Beckett, who wants to be a sports therapist. He'll graduate next year. He's extended his final year over 2 years to have more time to focus on gymnastics. Matteo Bardana of the University of California, Berkeley, consistently ranked as one of the finest in the United States of America. And he is consistently ranked as one of the finest young gymnasts in Canada. You're looking here at the Elite Canada 2025 Next Gen all-around floor, rings and horizontal bar champion. The Next Gen is the 18 to 20 division. The 18-year-old from Kingston, Ontario, Matteo Bardana. Lovely, lovely opening tumbling pass. That was a treat. Really wrapped the body tightly in and then opened out nicely. Less secure there. Better twisting, good landing. For the arabesque style scale. Oh, my word, he really did overshoot that. Again, did well to hold, but he's taking a few penalty tenths. There's some very elegant gymnastics going on there. He got beautiful height in his final tumbling pass. Yes, you can see why he's very highly regarded. 12.233, Ioannis Chronopoulos. First score in for the Canadians. Sam Mustalfi, graduate of the University of Nottingham in business management. He was a sports scholar there. He was the British University's all-around champion as well. Now focusing on his elite gymnastics quest to get to the Olympiad in Los Angeles. Good straight body position. Oh, and again he has separation of the legs but holds on miraculously. Well, that was a real fight from Sam Mustalfi. He will take quite a few deductions for the break in leg form, but incredible strength shown to hold on. Clips the edge of the apparatus. Canada working their way round in what is often known as the Olympic order, starting on floor, finishing on a horizontal bar. Going to be very interesting to see this gentleman next. So it is 12.533, the floor score for Matteo Badana. He'll now sit out a couple of rotations and will return for vault. This is one of the gymnasts, the three doing the all-around for the Canadians, of which only two can qualify for the final, the two highest scoring. It's William Emar. He has a collection of major medals in continental competitions, but unfortunately he's lost a full mark there. Twisting was quite elegant looking, but the landings have been problematic. He's studying marketing at the Université du Québec à Montréal. That was beautifully held. And the final tumbling pass is high quality from William Emar, who has trained with his teammate here today, Felix Dolci, for years and years. Childhood friends. Difficult beginning, not fully rotated, coming out of the front pike. But there were lovely moments in that routine. Sam Mustalfi, 11.966. So that is a higher score by half a mark than Luke Whitehouse. It therefore will count for the British team. From the University of Nottingham, Luke Marsh. It's his home city. He's only 19. Was part of the Nottingham team that won bronze at the British Championships in June. We're seeing some leg separation issues from the British men on the Wenderschwings. Good Magyar-Shivado combination. Picking up the pace nicely. He is again quite close to the apparatus, but does just about control that into the dismount. 12 for William Emar. So that, as things stand, is not going to be a counting score for the Canadians if Felix Dolci can go beyond it, because it is the lowest of the Canadian scores so far. Felix Dolci. Lovely. Now we would expect some strong numbers from this gentleman because of things like that. The Pan American Games all-around champion. Elegant and poised. Well, that certainly will be the strongest number that we've seen from the Canadians on floor. Felix Dolci recently retained his all-around national title. Luke Marsh, 12.666 is the strongest number for the British team on pommel horse. Drawing to a close in the opening rotation. 1 of 6. Now this is subdivision 2 of 6 overall in the men's team final. So now we will see Slovenia in action on the pommel horse and Portugal. Just 4 teams in this particular subdivision. We will have 6 later on in the second subdivision of the day. Those last moments before the competition, last opportunities to iron out the nerves. Lovely space as well, the Messe Essen Hall number 3. So many different sports at these games, all clustered together in Essen. Makes for a very vibrant atmosphere. Allows spectators to trot between them to catch glimpses of things. Allows the athletes to do the same. Now how about that? 13.7, that is way higher. Does take a single penalty 10th, but easily the best score we've seen from the Canadians on that apparatus. So Felix Dolci starting his all-around quest impressively and helping the Canadian team hugely. Now the Portuguese team, squad of 5 of them, getting ready to embark on their quest for team glory. They'll be competing on floor first. Tell you, by the way, that Cameron Lynn of Great Britain scored 11.933 on the pommel horse. We begin the Portuguese team's campaign with José Nogueira of the University of Porto, founded in 1911. He's a bioengineering student at one of the most prestigious academic institutions in his country, and he's got a nice double layout too. He's got some good height at the end, may have taken a step out landing that pike. A couple of good-looking rotations in the air from José Nogueira. He was the gymnast who at the Mediterranean Games a few years ago produced the best ever performance for a Portuguese man at the event, and he's particularly able on floor. It's his second consecutive World University Games. Now the Slovenians have got in their ranks Gregor Rakovic, who's a particularly skilled gymnast on the pommel horse. Was actually 5th at the European Championships here in Germany earlier in the year. The 20-year-old is in the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering at the University of Maribor. And he is a very self-deprecating gentleman. He describes himself as an average pommel horse enjoyer on social media. Well, he's a little bit more than average. You'll see why, hopefully, if he does what he's intending to. This is Gregor Rakovic of Slovenia and the University of Maribor. 5th at the European Championships in Leipzig earlier this year. He's very impressive on this apparatus. Clicks up into handstand well. In contrast to what we've seen so far on pommel horse, there's a much stronger degree of straightness of his body. Little piking in the midsection. And the heels well together in the Wendeschwings. And again, and he's cutting out the middle section of the pommel horse when he does those Wendeschwings to bolster his difficulty. Oh no! Oh, that's extraordinary. Well, he seemed to be through the lion's share of the really complicated bits. Oh, you have to sympathise, because he's somebody who would undoubtedly have been aspiring for a place in the pommel horse final. That's how close he was to the end of the routine. And it was going wonderfully. José Nogueira, 12.866. First score in for the Portuguese. It'll take us a long time to have a real sense of how this team final is progressing. So many teams still to compete. Felipe Almeida, 23-year-old from Lisbon. He studies at the new university in his city, founded in 1973. Nice toe point there in the split position. A very nice toe point indeed, going up into handstand. Good little detail. He's very graceful. That's a very pretty arabesque as well. I don't believe that he managed to actually not be completely grounded there. And he stepped out. There was a huge loss of form, but incredible save. Felipe Almeida, one of the 5 strong Portuguese team. Luis Lechaux not competing on floor. Absolutely incredible save. .866. Unfortunately not the sort of number that Gregor Rakovic was hoping for. And it was really going well until he came off near the end. Marcelo Marques of the University of Lisbon, the largest in Portugal. Oh, slams that first tumbling pass down with authority. He chooses to go early into his scale. Very good clearance. Unfortunately, takes quite a big step out. That not hugely costly, but the overall execution of the landing not entirely secure, but the last tumbling pass was. That's some very nice work from the Portuguese. Yes, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Some very nice work from the Portuguese on floor. It's what I was saying earlier. Over the last few years, we've begun to see them more as a team, competing more in European and Mediterranean competitions as a group. And they are getting there. People like Marques and Nogueira, they've already been to a World University Games. They were there in Chengdu a couple of years ago. And they can help provide guidance to the young member of the team in Luis Lechaux. Almeida scores 12.466. Not quite as strong as the number we saw from Nogueira. If you're just joining the action, this is the first subdivision of the men's team final, the second subdivision of qualification. We've got Canada, Portugal, Great Britain and Slovenia in this first of the 2 afternoon and evening subdivisions, and we've got fans of all ages enjoying the action. That is excellent, 13.7. That's the joint best score that we've seen so far on the floor. Marcelo Marques of Portugal. Well, he looked thrilled at the end of it, and he was right to be thrilled. Guilherme Campos, the oldest member of the team at 24. The graduate of Engineering and Industrial Management at the Superior Institute of Engineering in Porto, part of the Polytechnic of Porto. I don't know about you, but it almost seems as though the Portuguese team has been massively emboldened by that display from Marques, because the attack of this routine from Campos is wonderful. So important not to concede needless tenths on the execution of the scale. Lots of precision in this display. Did lose a little of the leg form on that tumbling pass, but not for a huge amount of time. Very nice. They are a treat to watch, the Portuguese men. Now, big test coming up when they go to Pommel Horse next, because they'll feel a great deal of momentum after this first rotation. He's got good secure form in the air, not just tidy landings, but they were by and large very tidy. Very small adjustment, the tiniest backward shuffle as he came out of the pike position. Well, I think if you'd offered Portugal those performances this morning, they would have bitten your hand off for them. Now it's about keeping it going. .266. Guilherme Campos. So that is 2 of the 3 best scores on floor coming from Portugal in the early stages of this competition.
Thank you.
This is where we find ourselves after the first rotation. Now, the Slovenians have only put 1 gymnast up on Pommel Horse, that was Gregor Rakovic. And as a result, they will not be eligible for a team score. That is contrary to what they had indicated before the start of the competition. There are some nations that we know will not be eligible for a team score. And there are some who might surprise us as they go through the competition. The Slovenians seem to have chosen not to actually go for an overall team score. They might simply not have the personnel to do that, but Rakovic, the only gymnast who represented them on the Pommel Horse. And I'll just remind you once again what I said at the start. It's 5-4-3, maximum of 5 in your team, maximum of 4 may perform on each apparatus, and 3 scores will count. And if you don't have 3 counting scores, then you won't be able to fully complete the team competition. So we are at the 1/6 mark of this first men's subdivision. I hope you're enjoying it all so far. Great Britain will now head to the still rings. The Canadians will be on Pommel Horse. These are the judges who will be assessing the rings competition, the rings portion of this competition, I should say. The British team will not use Mikey Goddard on the rings. Goddard will only begin his competition on vault. He's the youngest member of the team. So they will have Mustafi, Marsh, Lynn and Whitehouse representing them. Over on the pommel horse, the Canadians will not use Matteo Bardana. He, as I mentioned earlier, will sit out pommel horse and rings and return on vault. Gymnasts like William Emar will be attempting qualification for the vault final as well. Felix Dolce, another in that category. No British men will be doing 2 vaults. We will see one Portuguese gymnast doing that, that's Felipe Almeida, and we will see Benno Kunst, unsurprisingly from Slovenia, attempting 2 vaults. He's been very active in World Cup competition recently. A little bit of a star-studded atmosphere in the arena, by the way, because Fabian Hambuchen is being interviewed at the moment. The Olympic champion from Rio on the horizontal bar, absolute gymnastics legend, being spoken to by another one, Kim Bui. That's why there's that warm applause ringing out in the Messias in hall number 3. I wonder if we'll get any Hambuchen-style screams at the conclusion of horizontal bar routines today. William Emar of the University of Quebec at Montreal, the largest part of the University of Quebec system, founded in 1969. Didn't have the easiest start, Emar, with a 12 on floor. And this so far represents a positive rebound to his competition, but he did have quite a bit of piking in the midsection that he controlled nicely, but gets through that with smoothness. 25-year-old William Emar. He will be aspiring to get into the 24-strong all-around final, and that could be of great importance to him. The Canadians have got real pommel horse experience upon which to draw in the form of Jason Rampersad, who will be coming up later. A lot of the Canadian gymnasts very experienced from events like the Pan American Games, from the Pacific Rim Championships, their Continental Championships as well. And in William Emar, you have the first gymnast to compete at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Now there is weight on a person's shoulders to be first up. 12.3. Luke Whitehouse of Leeds Beckett University, a very well-known university from a gymnastics point of view and from a sports science point of view. He had a rather tricky beginning on the pommel horse, 11.466. It was the lowest British score. And as I mentioned earlier, the young man from Halifax will finish on floor, where he will be desperate for a high quality number that gets him into the apparatus final. He was 6th at the Olympic Games on floor after all. into the iron cross with precision. A little flicker in his handstand on a couple of occasions. And he does get his triple back. Very nicely performed. Those triple back somersaults are going to be of great importance in the code of points. Did he go around a couple of times? It may have caught me out there. Ioannis Chronopoulos over on pommel horse. Scissors well. He was a bronze medalist at the national championships. Oh, that's a lovely smooth move across the apparatus. He looks very secure here. Maybe a slight loss of tidiness going round into his dismount, but that was very impressive from Ioannis Chronopoulos. Important score that might well be for the Canadians. Luke Whitehouse, the first British man to land a triple back somersault on floor. He scores 13.4, Luke Whitehouse.
Come on, Sam. You get everything. Come on, Sam. Come on.
That's a very good resurgence in his own competition. Sam Mustafi of the University of Nottingham representing the British team. Started with a score almost of 12 on the pommel horse. Holds the straddle planche with a minimal adjustment. Flickers a little in handstand, but the heels staying very nicely together. Yamawaki to Jonasson to handstand. And a quite nicely controlled landing with a little after effect, but that, again, a nice secure performance from the British team. Twisting and tucking nicely into that dismount, just loses a little for the lack of stability at the very end. 13.2, Ioannis Chronopoulos on the pommel horse for the Canadian team. That the work of somebody very comfortable on the apparatus. Quite a tall gentleman as well. Now, Felix Dolci with an excellent beginning to his all-around campaign, because this is all-around qualification as well. 13.7 on floor. And we will update you on how things are going for him just as soon as we can. We have Jason Rampersad, who is the reigning Pacific Rim pommel horse champion. He has a cluster of pommel horse honours. Rhine-Ruhr 2025, the first day of artistic gymnastics competition. Rhythmic gymnastics already concluded. It started the day after the opening ceremony. And we are waiting to get a clear sense of the picture of this men's team final. And as I said earlier, it will take a while for that to happen because of the length of the competition. The men's team final taking place over 2 days. The women's team final is the day after. That's just a one-day event. 12.333, Sam Mustalfi. That's his ring score. Also of the University of Nottingham like Sam Mustalfi, Luke Marsh. He made the rings final at the British Championships earlier this year. He's a gymnast with a lot of potential. Very good handstand, moved neatly into it. That's lovely too. And his landing wasn't bad. Fairly clear backward step, but an authoritative display from Luke Marsh. Not doing the all-around here, but he is a fine all-around gymnast. He was 5th at the English Championships. We haven't, as I mentioned earlier, yet had the chance to see Mikey Goddard, because he will come into play in the next rotation as the British go to vault. And we will move to Portugal and to Slovenia in just a moment. This is the smallest of the subdivisions of the men's team competition. There are 6 teams by and large in each subdivision, but just not this first one. Luke Marsh, 12.033, doesn't have a huge difficulty score, but quite tidily performed. Now let's have a look at the Canadian team on pommel horse, and a gymnast that we simply must watch. This is Jason Rampersad. From Concordia University, an English language university in Montreal, Jason Rampersad, the reigning Pacific Rim champion on the pommel horse, and already a multi-sport games medalist on this apparatus from Santiago 2023, the Pan American Games and the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham the year before. He's going well here. Just as I said that, a little leg separation, but it was mild. So big were those attacks on the Wenderschwing that he nearly came hurtling off, but he has stabilised it. Great effort, and he's through. Jason Rampersad. And there was some complexity in that routine. The aspiring lawyer made the decision to transfer from York University to Concordia last year to study philosophy. And 13.433 is the score of Jason Rampasad. I can tell you that's the second best score we've seen so far on the pommel horse. The best set by Ravshan Kamiljanov of Uzbekistan in the first subdivision as an individual. So a mark down from that. I can also tell you that Felix Dolci did not compete on the pommel horse. And as a result of that, he will not be in all-around qualification contention. We move to José Nogueira of the University of Porto, the bioengineering student who engineered a good display on floor of 12.866. Now let's see if Portugal can keep their brilliant start going, because they've been great fun to watch. Helps so much if the first gymnast on pommel horse can go through cleanly. The pressure is reduced enormously so. Hasn't he done well? Haven't they done well? José Nogueira at his second consecutive World University Games. He did only floor and pommel horse at the European Championships here in Germany a couple of months ago. He's got very good memories of this country. The first time he came to a really big event in Germany was the Munich 2022 Championships. Strong sense of team spirit in the Portuguese ranks, isn't there? He's an experienced lad. He's been to the World Championships a few times. .133, José Nogueira. Rather interestingly, we're without the Slovenians at all at the moment. Bring you an update on them as soon as we can. Now we'll go to Marcelo Marques. A man from the University of Lisbon who looked wonderful on floor. Good luck to him as he continues his campaign. Small leg separation, he controls it, only a minor deduction there. Good hand placement for those vendor swings. He's got to keep the kinetic energy going, and he has done. Well, there are little losses of tidiness here and there, but he is doing a very fine job, and he's having a really strong start to his competition. Marcelo Marques. Well, there it was, the original Hamburgen scream as the great German gymnast watches on from in this arena. Well done, that man. Massive cry from Marcelo Marques. Well, they really are compelling to watch, the Portuguese. They didn't field a full team at the European Championships, but 3 of the 4 are here. And Marques, 13.2. And if he carries on in this vein, he's going to be looking very tidy. He's not due to be competing on the horizontal bar, but we are seeing some variety to the published intentions. So we'll come back to that. This is Luís Leixo of Portugal, another of the University of Lisbon students. First time we've seen him in this competition. He didn't compete on floor. First time we've really seen somebody going through the flares as well, which he does with vigour. And unfortunately the control went. I was just wondering, watching him, whether he'd be able to hold on to the stability of those flares. It's always a risk. He was very close to a medal in the all-around competition at last year's National Championships, only half a mark away from José Nogueira. And he is the youngest in the team. And I just remind you that if you are putting 4 gymnasts up on an apparatus, you will have one of the scores discarded, the lowest one obviously. And that is what Portugal are intending to do as far as we know. Well, he concludes smoothly. A lot about it was very nice to watch. A look back at Luís Leixo. He was the second best on pommel horse at last year's National Championships, as well as his strong display in the all-around. You can see why, with those flares that he really went for. Now, while we're looking at Portugal, I'll give you a quick update about Slovenia. They are not competing on the rings. They'll return, we understand, for vault. So they have produced a working order very different from the one that they actually submitted beforehand. And teams are at liberty to do that, but it has rather caught us by surprise, because we were expecting the Slovenians to actually contest the team competition, but they've obviously chosen not to. But we do believe that we'll see Benno Kunst on vault, certainly. So that means that from a team standpoint, it's just Portugal, Canada and Great Britain in this particular group. 9.966 for Luís Leixo. On we go to the next rotation. The British team will head to vault. The Portuguese will go to the rings. Canada to rings as well. Canada leading the way after rotation number 2 of 6 in the men's team final, but the very early stages of this final, with Portugal second, Great Britain third, and the Slovenians, as I mentioned before, not choosing to enter the team final. So they are right at the bottom because that 12.866 is a single routine score. It was Gregor Rakovic on pommel horse. You're watching the 2025 FISU World University Games this summer, the Rhein-Ruhr 2025 Games. The action taking place today in Messe Essen Hall number 3. And the men's team final in artistic gymnastics. The opening day of our coverage of artistic gymnastics at these games. And all of the gymnasts here are thinking about many things at the same time. They are thinking about their team quest, they're thinking about their potential all-around quest apparatus finals. A lot of them are thinking about the university exams they've just done or might be about to do. These are the vault judges. Good luck to them. And congratulations to them on their selection for this competition. Always a great piece of evidence as to how good a judge you are, that you're being selected to go to international assignments and to multi-sport games. It's an exciting occasion for them as well. And for you, I hope, watching wherever you're watching from, lovely to have you with us for the Rhein-Ruhr 2025 Games. Now, we don't anticipate there are going to be any British gymnasts doing 2 vaults. We certainly expect Benno Kunst of Slovenia to do that in the second half of the rotation. But when Canada and Portugal move to vault for rotation number 4, it might be a rather different picture. Based on what we are expecting, there should be a few gymnasts trying to get into the vault final. William Emma will be competing on the rings for the Canadian team. And he actually made the rings final at his debut World Championships way back now in 2021 in Kitakyushu. How time flies. He's been a Pan American Championship medalist on the apparatus too, so plenty of pedigree for that gentleman. Any moment now we will be bringing you the next rotation, and once this is done it'll take us to the halfway stage of this subdivision number 2. Jason Rampersad of Concordia University representing Canada on the rings. 21-year-old is from Ontario and has competed at the World Championships on a couple of occasions. Looked good on the pommel horse. This is due to be his only other contribution to this particular team competition. Up into the planche. Decent levelness of shoulder line in the iron cross. Yamawaki had good position of the knees, tucked quite tightly in to the chest. It's a lot to enjoy about the work of Jason Rampersad. He was part of that team at the World Championships in Antwerp that qualified a full men's team to the Olympic Games for the first time since Beijing in 2008. They were thrilled to be in Paris, the Canadians. I'm sure many of you remember they were 4th in qualification. It was outstanding. Mikey Goddard, 18-year-old from Leeds Beckett University. And he does well to get a little stability. We'll have a look back at this. Yes, does quite nicely. 1.5 twisting Kasamatsu. 13.733 for Mikey Goddard. Very good up-and-coming gymnast is Goddard. He was the under-18 all-around English champion last year. 12.833, Jason Rampersad.
Buddy. Nice.
Ioannis Chronopoulos of Canada and the University of Nebraska-Lincoln goes to the rings. He looked strong on the pommel horse particularly. Comes into the Maltese to the iron cross with a display of finger point and opening up the palms of the hands. Again, level. He's had a busy old time of things. This gentleman earned his bachelor's degree in criminology and criminal justice a couple of months ago. A small compression going into the handstand, a little bending of the arms, got it back together really neatly, and he finishes well. Ioannis Chronopoulos from Milton in Ontario. Nice to see him get a moment in the sun because he was the alternate, the reserve gymnast for the Olympic team. Always a tough position to be in. And we look over the shoulder of Felix Dolci, waiting to go. Cameron Lynn, the Scottish gymnast from the University of Stirling, where he is a scholar. Scottish all-around champion from last year. That's good tidy vaulting. A little more precise looking, that 1.5 twisting Kasamatsu. He's very central as he comes round. Unsighted landing. Nice to watch. 13.766. So it is a little higher than the score given to Goddard, a few hundreds better. Same difficulty vault. 13.266, Ioannis Chronopoulos. That's the best score that he's produced so far in the competition. Now, what an absolute joy it is to see Felix Dolci on the rings, the Youth Olympic Games silver medalist from Buenos Aires in 2018. And he won a medal more recently at the Santiago 2023 Pan American Games on this apparatus. He looks very in control, doesn't he? Jonasson up into the handstand. Maybe just a little piked at the start of that planche, and a slight loss of form swinging up into handstand there, but all of this is very secure, and he lands nicely. Felix Dolci, the graduate of Liberal Arts and Science at Montmorency College, now at Collège La Salle in Montreal. Good form in his Jonasson. Looked very good on floor. Sam Mustafi of the University of Nottingham. Trained at Notts Gymnastics until moving back to Kent last year. Oh yes, that was lovely. Well, he got real amplitude here. The travel away from the vaulting table is impressive, as is the overall form of that vault. Gets the arms nicely into the body to make for a tidy looking twist position. Yeah, 14.133. Easily the best execution of the Kasumatsu 1.5 that we've seen from the British team. Felix Dolci, 13.166. I can tell you that the best score that we've seen so far on the rings, Luke Whitehouse, 13.4, so Dolci the third best. But what of William Emar? A medalist at the Pan American Championships a couple of years ago on the rings. And a finalist, as I mentioned earlier, at the World Championships on his debut. That's beautiful. What a level shoulder line. Going from the Maltese position into the iron cross. And the smooth move out of the Jonasson up into the handstand, again looking very well controlled. Will the dismount match? Small adjustment, but a very authoritative display. William Emar. He spoke about the difficulty of balancing university study with elite level competition, wanting to be out on the World Cup circuit, doing as much as possible, but also making his undergraduate experience meaningful. It's very difficult, and it's something that so many athletes know all too well. You might be one of them. The thing about elite athletes is they tend not to just want to do their sport well, they tend to want to be good at everything, including the academic side of things. To Luke Marsh, the youngster in the British team, and a very impressive one too. That was good. Not as difficult a vault as we've seen from other members of the team, but that's fine at his age. He's 19. Goddard, who we saw earlier, is 18. Little loss perhaps of the ideal form in flight. But he takes a small landing adjustment. Looked as though he may have strayed out of bounds. Yes, a 10th gone for that vault. 13 for Luke Marsh, but I just remind you that he was already starting from a base of 4/10 lower than the other British competitors with that difficulty score. William Emar scores 14. Now then, that is handsomely the strongest number that we have seen on the rings by 0.6 of a mark. And what I can also tell you is that that's the highest difficulty performance that we've seen on the rings so far, 5.3. Meanwhile, the Portuguese getting ready to do their work on the apparatus. Portugal won't be using José Nogueira on the rings, nor on the parallel bars. Now we have got the return of Slovenia and Benno Kunst. Those of you who've been watching a lot of World Cup and World Challenge Cup competition over the regular season will have witnessed his rise to getting onto the podium at his home World Challenge Cup in Koper. He's got a particularly nice first vault if he can produce it here. Tends to start with a roche. All of our indications were that the Slovenians were all due to do every apparatus, but evidently they just hadn't fully submitted a working order, because it would have been rather strange to see Gregor Rakovic, a pommel horse specialist, do a horizontal bar routine. So we've received clarity as the competition has gone on. Now to Benno Kunst. He is at the School of Advanced Social Studies in Nova Gorica, a town in the west of Slovenia on the border with Italy, a beautiful town. This is a gymnast who recently won his first World Cup honours on vault, a bronze at home in Koper. And, oh, nearly, there's that roche I was telling you about, the first vault, but slams down onto the mat, unfortunately. He's had difficulty, the 23-year-old, across the season in consistently putting both vaults together. When he does it, he's very competitive on the World Cup circuit. There's a lot to like about his work. There's a lot to like about his work. This gentleman from Portugal and the University of Lisbon, Marcelo Marques, he will start on the rings for the Portuguese team in this particular rotation. He's looking in very good order. Seemed just to have a little flicker of positional change. And that didn't look quite according to plan. Going into the L position. Oh, yeah, he's not looking fully secure there, unfortunately, Marcelo Marques. Not to the level that we saw from him on floor and pommel horse, which is no great surprise. It is not a favoured apparatus for him. And it was a very good effort. And to excel on rings is such a different skill set. subdivision number 2 at these games. And the men's team final with Benno Kunst scoring 12.366, unfortunately for that Roche vault. 3 penalty tenths as well as the full mark lost for sitting it down. All of that putting him in a very difficult position and making qualification for the vault final extremely unlikely. And I'm sure many of you know this, but those of you who don't, or could do with a bit of a reminder, 2 vaults needed for qualification for the vault final, and only the first one counts for the team score and indeed for the all-around qualification score. Determined effort to get that picture exactly right. At the moment it is the Portuguese team that's our focus, particularly because Slovenia are not entering anything like a full squad at the vaulting table, nor indeed in this team competition at large. Quite a wait this for the number to come in for Marcelo Marques. One imagines it will be a fair bit lower from an execution standpoint and indeed from a difficulty standpoint than what we've seen from him on floor and pommel horse. It's 10.066. Only a 2.7 for difficulty. Just didn't quite seem to go according to plan, that display. 3 penalty tenths as well. Felipe Almeida of the Nova University Lisbon. And he has been the champion of Portugal on this apparatus. Different sort of skill, dropping the body low down below the rings. First time we've seen that in this competition. And there's a smooth sense of swingfulness to his work. Well, that is the work of Felipe Almeida of Portugal. There is a degree of gracefulness to his work that is very enjoyable to watch. Whatever difficulty he produces, and indeed whatever execution issues there might be, the whole thing is rather neatly packaged in a very, very pretty box with a ribbon on it. And that's just that sort of balletic sense to his gymnastics. It's that he's got nice toe point, it's that he has a smooth sense of swing. And it's a very useful skill to have, because gymnastics should at its heart look like a smooth and artistic thing. It should appear not to just be a series of skills done one after the other. It needs to look cohesive and look blended. One of the great joys of the FISU World University Games is the opportunity to see some gymnasts that we don't often get the chance to see in televised competition, to tell their stories, to look at their academic lives, and to celebrate not just elite level sport but elite level academia from all over the world. And And we're grateful to you for your companionship as part of that. For Felipe Almeida, he scores 12 exactly, an 8.8 for execution. Not a hugely difficult routine, but a nicely performed one. Luis Lechaux of the University of Lisbon. He has competed at junior and senior European Championship level, including as a junior in Germany, in Munich in 2022. Uses the traditional Yamawaki-Jonassen combination. A decent job of holding his handstands. And landing with a degree of security as well. Well, I go back to what I've been saying throughout, really, how much there is to enjoy about watching the Portuguese team competing. There's a confidence about them. They don't necessarily have the most difficult gymnastics of anyone that we're going to see here, but they've got a quality of performance that is very nice. Portugal will be sending one gymnast out to try and qualify for the vault final. That is Felipe Almeida. And we are very close now to moving round to the fourth rotation. And that could be interesting from a vault point of view, because we've got both Dulcie and Emma of Canada to come. They might do rather well. For Lechaux. Well, that's what I was saying earlier, that nice sense of camaraderie between them there. Tightly knit bunch of gymnasts, and that's so important. Yes, you do this as an individual, but the team spirit is of great help. Not just spectators watching on, but athletes as well, those involved in other sports, those involved in later subdivisions. It's the great joy of the Messier and Hall system of having all of these sports next to each other, the chance to really soak up the atmosphere of the games. There's someone who's been soaking up the atmosphere of the games the whole way through, providing great support, taking some good pictures, supporting their nation with great pride. And justifiably as well. You've got to be proud of how the Portuguese are performing. They're not a known team on the global stage in terms of where they feature in rankings. So it's lovely to see what quality they've got and what potential they've got to keep getting better. Oh, it's nice to have a clear and complete picture of who's out there on the international stage. This is how things are currently looking. The Canadians ahead of Great Britain, the British team moving into second place. Portugal in third position with quite a gap between them and Great Britain, and Slovenia, as I have mentioned before, not participating in the team event. And these are the judges tasked with stewardship over the parallel bars. And as I have mentioned before, difficulty starting from 0, working upwards, execution starting from 10 and working down. Now the British team warming up on the parallel bars, and we're going to see what sort of work they produce on this apparatus. And they've got some strong gymnasts on the parallel bars. It historically was never really an apparatus that was thought of as a particularly successful one for Great Britain. A gentleman of name Joe Fraser came along and rather changed the perspective that the world had of the British on the parallel bars, taking the world title. Feels like a lifetime ago now, but it was only 2019. Now these are the Canadian gymnasts who will be trying to earn a place in the vault final, William Emar and Felix Dolci. So they will undertake 2 vaults. And after all of that is done, we'll have a better picture of how things are looking at the vaulting table, because it's very early days. Aung Shun Chen of Malaysia is the top performer so far on vault, with 2 very difficult vaults, both 5.2, score of 13.416. The execution wasn't wildly high. So we've actually only had 3 gymnasts in total complete 2 vaults, but we will have many more as we go through the competition over the rest of today and into tomorrow. This is Matteo Badana of the University of California, Berkeley. He will only be vaulting once. Father David was on the Canadian national team, is now an orthopaedic surgeon. And Matteo Badana aspires to be a surgeon as well. And he is a promising young member of the squad. He is, as I mentioned earlier, the youngest in the Canadian team. Both of his parents were strong gymnasts. Both competed at university level. So not just his father with a great track record in the sport. Mikey Goddard on the parallel bars, the 18-year-old from Great Britain. From Leeds Beckett University, which used to be called Leeds Metropolitan University. Up into his handstand nicely. He's got a nice sense of smoothness on this apparatus. Tiamadov performed well. That was good, wasn't it, from Mikey Goddard of Great Britain. What a confident start. He was 6th in the all-round competition at the British Championships after being 8th at the English Championships. He went up by 2 marks in less than a month. That was a very encouraging thing to see. working hard to keep his form precise and largely being successful at doing that. Handstands look clean. Matteo Bardana, 12.933 on vault. Canada leading the way in this particular subdivision in the men's team competition. Ioannis Chronopoulos of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Just 1 vault to come from him. And that's secure, yes. Lovely landing, lovely landing. Well, the execution score will be interesting to look at here. Luke Whitehouse, who didn't vault for the British team. .8.
Let's go, Luke, come on.
Mikey Goddard, not a huge difficulty score, but his execution tidy. From Skircoat Green in Halifax, 22-year-old Luke Whitehouse. In fact, 23 at the start of the month. Good height on the front straddle somersault. Quite a good overall sense of fluidity. And a very fine dismount as well. That was lovely from Luke Whitehouse. Important that that went well too, because he's got a break in the next rotation and then we'll come to his signature apparatus floor. So that will sit well in the back of his mind, one imagines, as he now thinks about the last contribution he'll make. 13.766, there we go, 9.266 execution for Chronopoulos. Thought that would be quite high. This is William Emar, aspiring for a place in the vault final. And he embarks impressively. Judged that well, didn't he? Small step on the landing, but not a sizable one. That will have a 4.8 difficulty score. Luke Whitehouse, 13.533, best score that we have seen so far on the parallel bars. And the best by 3/4 of a mark too. And I just remind you that all of the athletes are attempting to qualify for individual finals too. From the University of Stirling, Scottish all-around champion from last year, Cameron Lynn, silver medalist this year and in 2023. And he has been a medalist on this apparatus at the Northern European Championships. And that under the Scottish colours. As well to hold that working sideways on just the single rail, not easy. Paddle front okay. Now sets himself up for a sizable travel, and at the tip elt. Very good. They're looking assured on the parallel bars, the British team. Cameron Lynn, who competed at the Commonwealth Games, did it with a serious ankle injury in the build-up, was very upset with himself afterwards. Returning to multi-sport games competition here. He said recently that he feels as though he's in the best shape he's ever been in. .933, the opening vault score for William Emar. I'll try and give you an update on that second vault as well. He certainly indicated he was going to do that, but it may not be the case. We have seen some changes to things. Felix Dulcie. Well, that was complicated and impressively performed, but looked a somewhat compressed landing. Doesn't get a great initial position on the table. Oh my goodness me. Hope that he's okay after that. Trying to get that extra half rotation round of the body. Now Cameron Lynn, 13.066 on the parallel bars. Sam Mustafi. He has been a World Cup medalist. That was on floor earlier in the season. Big moment for him. Lovely looking first handstand position. Excellent smooth tip elt. And regrettably, he'll lose a full mark there. That will be considered a fall. To work hard to get that sense of purpose, of movement energy built back up. And he does do that well. He does bring the whole thing back together after that loss of position. He's going to be one to watch in the next little while, over the next few years as the build towards the next Olympics happens, because he's so ambitious and he's so determined to. Just to give you a little update on how things are going with the Canadians. Felix Dulcie, 13.733 for his double twisting Casamatsu, the Lopez vault. But he looks as though there's a little discomfort there. He seems to be receiving some treatment. I thought the landing didn't look enormously pleasant. 11.666, Sam Mustalfi on the parallel bars. Well, we didn't, by the looks of things, have second vaults from Dulcie or from Emma, and they were gymnasts who had been marked at the start of competition as those who would be vaulting twice and trying to earn a place in the vault final, but all our indications are they only vaulted once. Portugal now take to the vaulting table, and we think that Felipe Almeida is going to perform twice on vault. We still have just 3 gymnasts so far who have attempted qualification for the vault final. The single best vault that we've actually seen at all so far today was that lovely vault from Sam Mustalfi, that 1.5 twisting Kasamatsu that scored 14.133. No representation from Slovenia on the parallel bars. So we just have these vaults to be performed by the Portuguese. It will be a quick second half of the rotation. Nice to see the members of the young reporters scheme watching on, which is a very important part of the FISU World University Games, because these are not just games to celebrate young athletes, these are games to celebrate young people, to give youngsters a chance from all over the world to train as journalists, to actually develop their own professional skills, whether they are sports people or not. Because how could an event like this not be one that celebrates lifelong learning? You're watching Rhine-Ruhr 2025, the FISU World University Games. It's the summer edition, and the Portuguese party is about to get started once more. Warm-up has been concluded and the rotation for Portugal on vault will begin. He's been their standout performer so far. Marcelo March of the University of Lisbon. Does well to clamp down on a bit of backwards movement as he landed. Difficulty-wise, that isn't huge, but execution-wise, as you would expect with him, it's all rather promising. Very central. One always wishes to see gymnasts doing lower degrees of difficulty by comparison. They perform with clarity. Just a 3.6 difficulty score, 12.666 overall. That performance on floor, the real highlight for him so far. It's the best score we've seen on floor. Now, José Nogueira, who didn't perform on the rings. And that was slightly more difficult to have the extra half turn of the body. so it should carry with it 0.4 further than we saw from his teammate. He's very well known for his excellent work on pommel horse, where he's been a multiple national champion. And he will see his score impacted by some penalties, certainly. Very clear indication there that a foot goes out, but it looks like it's just the 1 foot, so it should only be a single tenth. 12.933 for José Nogueira. Now this is a gymnast that we think will do 2 vaults, but let's wait and see. Felipe Almeida. Oh, nearly. Very, very nearly. First Yurchenko entry vault that we have seen performed in this team competition. Well, let's have a look back at this very different sort of vault. Almost around and secure, but he's not quite there. Now I have one more look at this performance of Felipe Almeida. It's the shoe felt vault that he's going for. 2.5 twisting Yurchenko, and what's interesting is I think he was indicating potentially on the board something more complicated than that. Be a 4.8 difficulty vault. And there we go, 12.8 his score. That was on course to be one of the strongest vaults that we'd seen, had he unfortunately not had that moment of sitting down. So we're going to have quite a long wait for real clarification on the vault picture. Now to Guilherme Campos of the Polytechnic Institute of Porto. Engineering and industrial management is specialism. Very disciplined young gentleman, this man. And regarded as a very important part of the team for his overall attitude. Oh, hope that he's okay, and that was just fall and nothing more. Doesn't look as though he's walking awkwardly. Well then, not having the easiest time of things on vault, the Portuguese. We didn't expect them to come in with enormous difficulty, but they will rather fade away down the leaderboard now. It's another example of how in gymnastics you can be not a million miles away from something and it can feel like you're a million miles away. It can seem like you are. It's just a jarred landing and backwards he goes. positions. A little compressed on the right hand side as he lands. That foot doesn't have a secure position. .933. We are drawing to a close in this particular rotation. And we still have 2 rotations to come in Subdivision 2 of the men's team final at the Rhine-Ruhr 2025 FISU World University Games Summer. This is the less busy of our 2 subdivisions today. We've got a lot more to come. The subdivision that gets underway in the evening part of our session at around about 6:30. And we're going to see there gymnasts from Belgium, from Hong Kong, China, from Brazil, from the Philippines, from New Zealand, from Denmark. Canada ahead of Great Britain after rotation number 4 with 2 to go, and as we expected, the Portuguese have moved a little further away from those top 2 positions. The Canadians quite comfortably in front, and all you can do is win your subdivision to be in contention, especially if you're the first up. Do the best job that you can and then see how the others perform after you. The horizontal bar judges. First time that we've had the horizontal bar come into play at these games. It is always a spectacular thing for fans of gymnastics to witness, especially if you see it for the first time when you're in an arena and yes, there we go, you see the horizontal bar and you see yourself on the big screen for the very first time at a major competition. They look like folk who are well versed in gymnastics. But yes, there's really something about it. Just the amplitude, the height that the gymnasts get, the spectacular side to the releases and regrasps. Safe and stylish, those headphones. Always good with the loudness of sound that you get in modern arenas for youngsters to have hearing protection. One of the things to watch for if you're newer to horizontal bar gymnastics is that the focus can so often be on the big release moves, but actually the intricate work close to the apparatus is very significant, particularly how the gymnast hits the handstand positions. They need to be within a tolerance of 15 degrees to avoid a deduction. If you go to 15 to 30 degrees, you lose a tenth, 30 to 60 degrees, a third, and so on. Can go to 0.5, and if it goes beyond 90 degrees, so 60 to 90 degrees is 0.5, if it goes beyond 90 degrees from that ideal handstand position, not only do you lose half a mark, but you get no difficulty value. So we all watch with great scrutiny the handstand positions and the clarity of those. One of the reasons as well the gymnasts have got to attack the release moves with aggression is that you can have amplitude deductions. You can lose a tenth or you can lose 3/10 for not getting enough height on your releases and regrasps. Let's see the British team head to the horizontal bar. Mikey Goddard on the horizontal bar for the British team and for his university, Leeds Beckett. And he didn't quite have the clarity needed there. So, as is always the case with any sort of fall in gymnastics, as I'm sure many of you know, a full mark taken from the score. He is, by the way, at Leeds Gymnastics Club, Mikey Goddard, who won the British Men's Team Championships in June, with gymnasts like Harry Hepworth, Jonas Rushworth and Luke Whitehouse in the team. So that gives you an idea of the regard in which he's held, that he's competing alongside very established senior national team members for his club. Repeats it and gets the difficulty value. A lot to enjoy and a lot to be excited about in terms of what we might see from Mikey Goddard in years to come. And he did excellently after remounting the apparatus to make his one release move count. On the parallel bars, Matteo Bardana of the University of California, Berkeley, and the Canadian team. He's from Kingston in Ontario. Some of you may remember him from the Junior World Championships in Turkey in 2023. A little moment or two to be assured of his position. He's another of the very young gymnasts who looks like a prospect for Canada, just as Mikey Goddard does for the British team. Canada very much in front by a good few marks at the top of the leaderboard in the team competition, but with a lot of teams who will be going for that Canadian total and hoping to surpass it, including a large chunk of the Paris 2024 Olympic gold medal winning team for Japan. 12.166, Mikey Goddard. He's got one performance still to come. We'll go to the floor exercise. We go back to the horizontal bar with Luke Marsh. He seems to be growing into the competition. It's an example of needing to get those handstands really into horizontal. Performs the Kovac, but he was quite far away from making that. And that now means that the British team will have to count an unintentional dismount from the apparatus in their team score. in that 5-4-3 system where you have a maximum of 5 in the team, where you have a maximum of 4 competing on each apparatus and 3 scores counting. You do get the luxury of a dropped score, but for the British there will be a fall counted. Oh, unfortunate. Straight Kachev. He does get his hands on the apparatus. Sometimes with the horizontal bar, and I've had elite level gymnasts say this to me on many occasions, you can catch the bar exactly where you're intending to catch it, but the bar itself is not where you thought it was going to be, because it may be that you didn't get something perfectly cleanly performed earlier on in the routine and the bar is vibrating, and consequently your hand placement, which you thought was going to be completely correct, is actually slightly off, because the bar itself is slightly off because it has a natural kineticism. Ioannis Chronopoulos on the parallel bars now for the Canadian team. Excellent grades at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, consistently made the school honour rolls. Sense of control to this routine. Looks in command of what he's doing. Does it translate to the dismount? Oh, good save, good save. He was close to a full-on fall backwards there. Good attack of the straddle somersault. Lots of positives for the Canadian team. The University of Nebraska-Lincoln was set up in 1869. It has 9 colleges. Matteo Badana has 12.566 for his parallel bars routine. Luke Marsh, 9.666. Sam Mustafi, graduate of the University of Nottingham, now back in the south of England, lead coach at Pegasus Gymnastics Club in Kent. He was part of the Notts gymnastics squad for his time at university. Performed both of his release and re-grasps well. So this one, would expect, as things stand, will be the best score that the British produced on the apparatus. Well performed, and he nearly sticks that dismount in its entirety. Sam Mustafi, he has been the British Universities champion on the horizontal bar as well as all-around competition. Over on the parallel bars, 12.966 for Ioannis Chronopoulos.
Let's go, trust it.
The best score that we've seen so far on the parallel bars remains Luke Whitehouse's 13.533 to William Emar. And he is focusing as well on all-around qualification. This is neat and smooth. Good leg form, the handstands look sharp and precise. Straddle front somersault did too. And his dismount was light and graceful. Very enjoyable gymnastics from William Emar of Canada. He knows, as all elite athletes know, when it's gone right. Teammates knowing it too, because that was a very easy routine to watch. Sometimes when you watch elite level athletes, you can see how hard they're working, but with Emar there was a sense of smoothness, of gracefulness. 12.866, Sam Mustalfi, the best score that we've seen for the British team on the horizontal bar. They have one to go. Cameron Lynn of the University of Stirling. Good giant swing. Test coming up here as he produces the original Kachev, then has maybe a little pause going into that handstand, a reset, but that was bigger and more deliberate. And then he performs the original Kovac afterwards. So 3 release elements. Good pirouette as well, that looked nice. Oh, lovely landing as well from Cameron Lynn. Some strong style from the Scotsman. Part of the Scottish team that finished 5th at the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games. There's the straddle Kachev. And he twists well. It's controlled, and that landing was excellent. We'll move to the second half of the rotation soon, and the Portuguese team. William Emar, 13.766 on the parallel bars, best that we've seen. Goes into the lead qualification position. The top 8, maximum 2 per nation, will go through. Cameron Lynn, 12.933. Second best score on that apparatus. Best for the British team. And he got the 0.1 bonus as well for sticking the landing. So then to Portugal. José Nogueira is the gymnast who will not be tackling the parallel bars for the Portuguese. There's lots to do in the whole Messe and Hall area, with all of the interconnected venues blend into one. There's places to get yourself a snack, there's opportunities actually to look at the sort of equipment that the athletes use. Some of the sports have put on little displays that help people more interactively engage with the sport. And it does give a real sense of a multi-sport environment, having this cluster of different sports and different disciplines in the same place. Sometimes a multi-sport games can struggle to feel like a multi-sport games when you're actually there and actually part of it, because there are so many different venues and they can be quite spread apart, and there's a lovely feel to everything in this particular area being so close together. It's a nice balance between having everything in one place, which would feel a little condensed and a little congested, and having everything spread out in different cities all over the country. They've managed here, the Rhine-Ruhr Games organisers, to strike a very nice balance. I suppose in a way it is representative of the way that a lot of universities are structured. You've got those that have giant central campuses, the real campus-based universities that are sometimes outside of major cities, and then you've got the ones that are in the traditional college system. A lot of the athletes here represent institutions that are a coming together of several older academic establishments that maybe connect as part of a wider umbrella of academia at some point in the last 50 to 100 years. Some of them attend universities where they don't need to leave their house. There's lots of online academia now, particularly after the obvious events of the last several years. And for elite athletes, it can be a wonderful thing to be able to study in that way. Well, continued treatment does go on. Canadian physios doing their very best. We have concluded the warm-ups, and the second half of the penultimate rotation is about to start. Marcelo Marques of the University of Lisbon, Portuguese gymnast who didn't have the easiest time on rings and vault, but was lovely on floor and pommel horse. How will he perform on this apparatus? Wouldn't be surprised if he gives us something that's very enjoyable to watch. Oh no! Well, he, I think, lost his upwards momentum there and seemed to come down on the bars, and will probably take a full mark deduction. And then didn't get even close to hand center, had to have an empty swing there. And after that, he produces a very fine-looking dismount, which is nice to see at the conclusion of a routine that was unfortunately full of complex moments that didn't go according to plan. Big arch of the back going into what's intended to be a tip help. He certainly does drop down onto the apparatus. And then this moment, as he's aiming to get right up, I think, into handstand. And all of that, making that dismount remarkable, that he managed to perform it so well. Marcelo Marques teammates Luis Lecho, Felipe Almeida, and in fact just those two are still to come because the Portuguese have chosen not to put up Guilherme Campos and José Nogueira. So only 3, which means every single score will count. Although, as I say, we treat that with a pinch of salt and a touch of scepticism, because we have seen quite a few little changes here and there be made to what was the published working order. It's unfortunately only a 10.333 for Marques. Felipe Almeida, the only gymnast here who was not part of the European Championship team. Small overarch, but he stabilises. So keeping that very simple, Felipe Almeida. They really were very nice to watch on floor, the Portuguese gymnasts. And again we see that gracefulness of Almeida, the toe point that lends itself well to everything. Even when it's a routine not of huge complexity like this one. Should receive a very strong execution score, but there won't be a huge amount of difficulty. Still to come today, subdivision number 3. And that busier subdivision we expect. 12 for Felipe Almeida, 8.7 for execution, but a 3.3 for difficulty. Luis Lecho, the last gymnast to go in this penultimate rotation. Up into the handstand. Another performance that has a smooth quality to it. A little pace, yes, he's taken quite a few paces now, losing a 10th each time with those hands. Coming out of the Diamondov, and he does take quite a big backwards pace as well. But he had some promising moments. Luis Lecho from Lisbon, like 3 members of the team, Marcelo Marques and Felipe Almeida likewise. There's Guilherme Campos and José Nogueira are from Porto. And they all very much to type are geographically accurate to their home city and their university affiliations. All the Lisbon lads study in Lisbon, and the opposite for the gentleman from Porto. Last score to come in, then we'll rotate round and begin the final rotation of subdivision number 2. 11.9 for Louise Leshaw. 3.5 difficulty score, so another reasonably simple routine by what we expect to see as the competition goes on. That takes us to the final move round to a new apparatus. The British will finish on floor. We will also see Portugal and Canada. They'll be competing on the horizontal bar. We'll wait to see if any Slovenians perform. And for Great Britain, they've got here one of the most high-profile gymnasts at these games, Luke Whitehouse, the 3-time reigning champion of Europe. Canada still comfortably ahead by just over 5 marks. In second place, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and a big gap now between them and Portugal. As we expected, the Portuguese strong beginning has rather faded. Best of luck to all of these judges who will be scrutinising the performances on floor. Well, what sort of performance are we going to get from Luke Whitehouse? From the gentleman who twice beat Artem Dolgopiat and then this year beat Harry Hepworth to take the European title. Only the second person to win 3 consecutive European titles on floor, the first in a lifetime to accomplish it. We'll discover in a moment or two, because the last rotation will soon be upon us.
Okay, 1 for you, 1-0. Okay, 1-1. Oh, okay, 2-1. Okay, now we're going to make it harder. So you have to say schnick, schnack, schnuck, all right? And then... Okay, 2-2. Now it's the final round. Oh, Jacob is the winner. So, okay, congratulations. And Jacob, going...
Sending out encouragement to the rest of the team.
Get the t-shirt from us. Get the
Cameron
really
Lynn,
special one. And
Scotland's champion from last year,
small towel.
and the silver medalist either side of it.
You did great. And once again, big applause. Once again, Jacob and Marcus.
At the conclusion of this rotation, we'll be at the end of the subdivision, and then there'll be a gap of just over an hour before we come back for more artistic gymnastics from Rhine-Ruhr 2025 and day 1 of artistic gymnastics at these games. I hope you'll be able to come back after a short break and join us for more competition.
For Team Great Britain, the first gymnast on the floor.
Matteo Bardana going through the last moments of visualization of his horizontal bar routine. The next gen champion of Canada, the name they give for their youth division from 18 to 20. Such an impressive young man, academically and as a gymnast. Let's wish him the best of luck. Kovac, well done. Really tries to get clear release on the pirouette and dance across the bar. Good work. Impressive young gymnast, Matteo Bardana. He also won the parallel bars title at the national championships, not just Elite Canada, in the next gen division. And if you can get into the University of California, Berkeley, you are an extremely good academic as well. It is a prestigious institution. Some quite clear deductions for not hitting the handstand positions. Well done to Matteo Bardana on a very positive contribution to the team. Youngest in the team to have accomplished what he has done at this event. Impressive. .533. Jason Rampersad is the gymnast who won't be going on the horizontal bar for Canada. Ioannis Chronopoulos. Coleman. We've seen a few of those already. Pike Tkachev. And the original straddle variation. And he lands with authority. Excellent. Yes, indeed. Ioannis Chronopoulos. He is somebody with all-around aspirations at these games as well. And he's performed to a high level. The best horizontal bar score so far is from Kacper Garncharek of Poland, 13 exactly.
I set up a little fast now. Nope.
It's always fascinating to hear the gymnast's own analysis of what they've done. The University of Stirling's Cameron Lynn on floor. He has been a World Challenge Cup medalist on this apparatus. That was a couple of years ago in Turkey. And he puts a hand down on what's been at times a tricky day for the British team. But the vast majority of this team is not hugely experienced, and that context is important. Had a slightly tentative feel going into his balance. A performance that was nice to watch from Cameron Lynn, and there's been a lot about him that's looked really impressive throughout. Ioannis Chronopoulos, 13.533.
Come on, Will! Go,
That is going to help the Canadians enormously, and it is by over half a mark the best score we've seen on the apparatus. William Emar. Performs his Cassina. And his Coleman. Catcher. And gets quite a lot of distance away from the bar as he lands with a sizable step forward, but again some very poised execution in that display. .033. Cameron Lynn to Sam Mustalfi. It must settle the nerves enormously when you can get a strong tumbling pass thrown down right at the start. And this is getting better and better as it goes on. Polished handstand. Bit of a wobbly scale, but not enormously problematic. And a well-held landing too from Sam Mustalfi. British team second behind the Canadians by about 5 marks. Just slightly more than that coming into this rotation. Well, they are doing rather nicely on this apparatus, the Canadians. They've got the top 2 positions, 13.633 from William Emar. Now Felix Dolci. Hope that he's doing okay after some issues with Volt earlier. Gosh, he's got a lot going on here. That's Felix Dulcie as William Emar leads the cheers from the Canadian camp. Well, that drew big applause from a gentleman sitting about 5-6 feet away from me, Fabian Hambuchen. And he's a pretty good judge of what makes for a pretty good horizontal bar routine. This was busy. It was quite complicated. Just to remind you that only 2 per nation can get into the apparatus finals. Each of the finals, that is. And it's Canada first and second at the moment on the horizontal bar. This is the last score to come in for Canada in their team competition.
Like I went for it, it was like, oh, I'm so far.
Now over on floor, Sam Mustafi, 13.766. That's a big number. That is the top score that we've seen on floor so far, and that is the top score we've seen on the horizontal bar, 13.866 for Felix Dulcie. And you have to really feel there for Ioannis Chronopoulos, because he's third best on the horizontal bar, but the top 2 above him are Canadian, so he won't go into the final. Now, Luke Whitehouse, the 3-time reigning champion of Europe. Oh, yes, triple back to start, that's huge. Beautiful. This is a huge routine in terms of its complexity and the caliber of its execution. And it's very much a case of so far so good. Twists beautifully with real precision. Luke Whitehouse with a huge display on floor. He's waited the whole competition to finish on his signature piece. And if you didn't know why it's his signature piece, boy do you know now. There's a lot of work going on up into such a high position, thrice around in the back tuck position. Twisting and tucking the body and judging his angle of landing very finely, very accurately. It's almost as though that would send them into the floor final. They're so behind him. The huge admiration from the Canadian team watching Luke Whitehouse on floor. It's going to be a mighty old number, this. This will be far beyond anything we've seen on floor so far. Oh yes, look at that score for Whitehouse. 14.566. Well, there is a long way still to go in terms of all of the qualification process, but that looks very likely to make it very compellingly into the final. 6.1 difficulty score. Wasn't that a delight to watch? And not easy to wait that long to perform. And nice to get the chance to see some gymnasts from Slovenia that we haven't had the chance to see so far, like Nikolaj Božič and Gregor Turk. And they're both floor specialists. So it will be very pleasant to watch their gymnastics. Slovenia's got some very good gymnasts on floor. There's such a great mood around the British team after that last display from Luke Whitehouse, and there will be in the Canadian team as well. I mean, how well they performed on the horizontal bar. All of the top three places theirs. But wasn't it lovely to see that sense of camaraderie at the end of the performance, even though that score doesn't do anything for them individually? They react as teammates should react to another success. Gregor Turk competed at the Junior European Championships in 2020, yet to compete at the senior level and the Senior World Championships. Not easy to get the chance to do that if you are a real specialist. I mean, Luke Whitehouse knows all about that. He barely even made it into the European Championship team the year after he won the title. Only came into the 2024 squad after Max Whitlock withdrew, and then defended his European title. The first British man to retain a European apparatus title. That's what you call a sense of style. And a sense of occasion as well. The Rhine-Ruhr 2025 FISU World University Games Summer Edition. Wonderful to have you with us all over the world watching the action. Thank you for spending your time celebrating artistic gymnastics and the academic lives that these competitors have as well. We go to the Portuguese gymnast on the horizontal bar, Luís Leixo. He was third best on horizontal bar at the National Championships last year. And he attacks the Kachev with purpose to start. This looks well in control. It is well in control from Luís Leixo. It's a nice finish to his competition. His university, one of the ones that I was talking about earlier, that exists in its present structure due to a merger between itself and another university, the University of Lisbon blending with the Technical University of Lisbon, now has around 50,000 students. Portugal has not just a fine tradition of university gymnastics, but they also have a wonderful tradition of local clubs, small clubs, and I don't mean small in a dismissive way, but just in the sense that they have all of these clubs run by members of the local community, and gymnastics is built from the ground upwards there in a very organic way. But there's been a very determined effort to get those clubs working together to hold lots of competitions. Luis Lachaud was the beneficiary of that when he won the all-around bronze medal at the International Gym Sport Tournament earlier this year in Matosinhos. 11.533. His best work was on the rings, where he scored 12 exactly. To José Nogueira. Amazing to think of the domination that he has displayed at national level ahead of the 2022 European Championships. He won 5 gold medals domestically, including the all-around. You need somebody to dominate. You need somebody to set the standard domestically, to get everyone else to raise their game, to want to beat them in the nicest possible way, because they're teammates here, but they are competitors domestically. And lots of these athletes will go on to become competitors in the all-around and apparatus finals. First time we've seen the Yamawaki. Keeping things very contained, not going beyond his level of comfort. Oh yes, that was a beauty of a dismount. How elegant. From José Nogueira, a little ballet to conclude that routine. Simple release element, the Yamawaki, the hop over the bar, but performed nicely. But it's about performing what you can with crispness and clarity and good execution and real safety, rather than indiscriminately throwing skills at a routine to pick up higher difficulty at the cost to your own execution score and the cost to your own well-being as an athlete. Beautiful double layout. Pretty as a picture, that. Three times at the World Championships, twice now at the World University Games, several European Championships, and still only 23. .9 from José Nogueira, 8.5 the execution score, very clean. 0.1 bonus for sticking the dismount, for not moving as he landed, not moving the feet as he landed. Felipe Almeida. Just waiting for the go-ahead to begin. And meanwhile, the tricky moment right at the end there for Gregor Turk of Slovenia. Oh, we just glimpsed in the background. Nice that he and Nikolai Božič are getting the opportunity to get out there and perform on their favoured apparatus floor. to Felipe Almeida. Stravelkachev never looked in doubt. To really, yes, exactly, build up the energy to get up into handstand after the regrasp. But he managed to do it. Can he build up swingfulness into that twisting dismount? He certainly can. Very enjoyable. A little smile from Felipe Almeida. Haven't they been good fun to watch, these Portuguese gymnasts? They've had their ups and downs over the course of the competition, but certainly more ups. Lots of positive moments. And then that moment of relief right at the end where he got the job done and broke into a contained and relaxed little smile. And then a giant grin and a chuckle as well. And why not? Experience that they've thoroughly enjoyed, the Portuguese. And Almeida scores 12.266. We'll see more difficult work, much more difficult work on the horizontal bar, but there's been a cleanliness to the way the Portuguese have performed on the apparatus that is really good to see. And a moment of camaraderie as well at the end, of sporting spirit, as the Canadians and the Portuguese exchange handshakes. And this is where we find ourselves after Subdivision 2. Canada ahead of Great Britain, and ahead of them by a good margin of close to 5 marks. The British managed to make up a little ground in that final rotation. Portugal in 3rd position, Slovenia not completing a full team event. So it is Canada top of the leaderboard. But they know, those Canadian fans, that there's a long way still to go, because we've got a full subdivision still to come today, and we have also got 3 subdivisions to come tomorrow. So we are only at the early stages of this men's team final, but a lot to have been able to enjoy in the Messe Essen Hall 3. Hope you've enjoyed it. Been great having your company. More to come in just over an hour. We'll return in about an hour and 10 minutes for more coverage.
gerade, als hätte er gesagt,